Let's go! Slavanski!
Luka!
On today's show, we will get into Luka and Slovenia getting in his bag, and then we'll talk about some rumors. Kawhi Leonard.
Oh.
Kyle Lowry. We'll get into that coming up on Locked On Mavs.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks Slovenia podcast. My name is Nick Angstadt, host and media member and coordinator of Locked On Podcast Network. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor at Mavs.com. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Luka Doncic.
Like, throwing me off my game. He's been so good in this.
Oh,
By the
man.
way, we're recording this after the game. It's late, so we have appreciation for all the European MFFLs that watch the Mavericks all year and have to stay up real late to watch games. So we appreciate you guys.
I was going to say, I don't even want to complain about the time because it's like 1:30, but you know what? So many of you guys get up all the time or get up late or get up early, stay up late to watch Luka play basketball. So we're getting a taste of your medicine. And man, what an incredible Luka Doncic performance. One of the best Luka performances we've ever seen on the. Is that surprising? 48 points?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Let's get into it. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by our Locked On NBA Draft Show. The live show will be in Dallas, Texas at WFAA. Come watch Chad Ford, John Corrales, and Rafael Barlow talk about the draft. Presented to you by Built Bar. Get local expert analysis on each and every pick. I'll be producing it. Follow Locked On NBA on YouTube today. Go subscribe to that channel. Follow our live coverage on July 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. Luka, you just said this is one of the best performances we've ever seen from him at any stage.
Yeah. It's one of the best Luka performances we've ever seen. I mean, he worked that game like a legit magician that you would go pay to see perform at an arena or some venue somewhere. That he controlled that game. It felt like every player on the court for Argentina was the same age as Scola. And it was just, I mean, from the opening tip, he hit 3 threes right in a row. It's like, oh, wow. This is one of these Luka games. And he was just in his bag. And there's nothing they could do to stop him. And, I mean, do we know why LeBron didn't come to the Olympics? Because
he's scared. He's scared
because I think we just seen the reason right there. I mean, I think he knew who the best player in the world was gonna be in Tokyo playing basketball. So he's like, hey, I'll just promote Space Jam.
Luka Doncic and Slovenia beat Argentina 118-100, I believe, is the final score. Luka in 31 minutes, which, by the way, all the Olympic games, 10-minute quarters. So they're not going to, it's not, same NBA, all that. You have to kind of extrapolate this out a little bit. 48 points. 48 points for Luka. 11 rebounds. He finishes with 5 assists. He gets 3 block shots as well, including a couple really good ones. One at the rim, one in the corner. He blocked a 3-point shot, which is wild. 18 of 29 from the floor. He was 6 of 14 on his threes. Only 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Only took 7 free throws, scored 48 points. Like Isaac said, one of the best Luka Doncic performances we've ever seen. He was just in control from tip. Just absolutely incredible. And by the way, a plus minus of plus 34. An incredible. They won by 18. Luka was plus 34, and there was other players on Slovenia that were negative double digits. Like Luka Rupnik was minus 14 on the same team. Just a wild game. And just to show how important Luka is, that when the bench is out there, they're losing by 10 points. And when Luka's out there, they're dominating by 30. Just an insane game. Does this tell us more about Slovenia or about Argentina?
Slovenia. I think we've seen that they have a team. I mean, we don't know the supporting cast that well. Like,
No.
I mean, do I want a Mike Toby jersey? Maybe. Maybe his jerseys aren't selling out as fast.
Do we want any jerseys? Shout out to anybody that was like us. Basically like the sneakers app, just trying to get on this website, stadionshop.com, and we just we had the jerseys in our carts. They dropped as soon as the game started. We had the jerseys in our carts, and then they just sold out. We were so hyped. We were so excited. I had my wife helping me pick out which one was the best one and all that. Took too long to get my wallet out, all that, and then just lost the jerseys in our cart. Shout out to everybody else that was like us.
Nick tried to go to a different site, and he goes, "Hey, you going to it?" And I just said, "I'm defeated."
You were down bad.
I was
down bad.
I would like a Mike Toby jersey. Apparently, they have a Slovenian Steph Curry that Fran said on the broadcast. I think it was Fran. So I'm intrigued by this guy. But they just have dudes that can hit threes, and it like you see Luka do his thing, and I felt like every time he kicked it out, like they would just hit a three, and it just seems like such a fun team. They obviously don't have the older Dragic. I guess he's the older one, Goran.
Yeah, I think Zoran's younger.
Yeah, so it just seems like a fun team to watch play basketball. We're all on board. I mean, look at all of our branding for Locked On Mavs. We're Locked On Slovenia now. This is part of it.
Go follow our Twitter account now.
I have a meeting like here in a few hours, and I told Nick originally, I was like, "Hey, you know what? It starts at 11:40. I'm just going to watch like the beginning of this game, and then so we pre-recorded the second and third segments." And because I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep. I got to go to sleep. How do you go to sleep watching Luka Doncic play basketball? Who's the dumbest person in the world? This guy, me. And I'm like, I just can't. I got to stay up and watch this, especially when it was like, it's tight. Like they took him out of the game and it was like they came back. It was like a 1-point game, 2-point game. They put Luka back in and it felt like they were up by 20 in literally like 5 minutes.
It was like that though. It was 0-60, and Luka just took him there. No one had any answers. The Slovenia it was so easy for them to get in the teeth of the defense, to get to that little like floater area inside the paint was just so easy. I mean, Argentina was trying so hard to not get Scola switched out on anybody because Slovenia would just drive by him. Anybody that had the ball would drive by Scola, who's 41 years old, by the way, still holding on. Way to go, Sacha Baron Cohen, for your finest hour of acting there. But man, they just had no answer. Luka got a tech. We saw Luka get a technical.
Got the full Luka experience
in the third quarter. It was a full Luka experience, absolutely, for sure. Now, do the Olympics have a technical number? If we get to 15, does he have to be suspended? I don't think so. We're learning all these different rules and enjoying it. It's been great. Watch yourself some Slovenia. It's a real fun team to watch. I'm excited to get into this and keep following all these games.
Especially after, I think a lot of us seen at least the end of, Team USA's game against France and how that unfolded, and France beat them, and, all the hot takes that were taking place.
No, just for Team USA.
All the hot takes and that, they're obviously the favorite to win gold, but you can't help to, in the same day we seen USA lose to France. It feels like they're in shambles trying to figure things out. And then we see arguably, the best player in Tokyo. It's either him or Durant, whatever you want to say.
Durant scored 10 points against France today. Get out of here. Luka's the best player there.
Yeah,
Come on. Like 10 points. Get out of here, Durant.
It's like you watch Luka put up 48 points tonight, and you're like, all right, like here we go. This is going to be a lot of fun. And so, yeah, Slovenia plays Japan coming up next. Then we get Spain coming up on Sunday, which will be a great game. And they basically just need to win one more game for them to come out of the, group stage. And then it's, medal rounds. Then we're getting fun. And I'm just so excited. We were talking about this during the game. I just want to see Luka fighting for a medal. Because if we thought Luka was on a different level for like playoffs, not just like performance wise and entertainment wise, but like talking crap wise,
he was doing it tonight.
He was, and this dude's gonna be all about it in the medal rounds, and I'm all here for it.
Somebody asked me this question on Twitter: who is Luka talking crap to, like in Tokyo? There are no fans. There's no one there. Like there's no one there except for people with the other teams. Who could Luka be screaming at? Is he just talking to the Argentina bench? Is he just? And I was like, do we know? Do we know that Bob isn't in Tokyo? Do we know this?
How far is Greece to Tokyo? I will say I did see Callie Kaplan, who's doing great reporting for the Dallas Morning News.
Yeah,
in Tokyo.
in person.
She tweeted out saying that he kept on looking at a place where scouts for Japan and Spain were sitting. So I don't know.
Get ready. He said, "Get ready."
Or better.
Do you think the scouts for Japan were just like crapping themselves?
They're like, there? Who are you talking? Like, what are we going to meet? We're not saying anything.
What are we supposed to do?
We're not going to beat you. Like Rui's over there. Like what? Like what? Why do you have to? Or it could just be like a Jordan type of thing, and Luka's just saying, "Hey, I'm just going to make up people in my head saying crap to me, and I'm just going to like talk crap this whole."
What do you think Luka's fake person's name is?
Bob.
Bob Rick. Quick. Bob Rick. That's his first and last name. Rick Bob.
Oh, Rick.
Oh,
Bob.
Man. Luka, by the way, 48 points. Second most points in an Olympic basketball game. The first is Oscar Schmidt, the legend.
Oh, OG.
55 for him.
A true GOAT. Oscar
Luka
Schmidt.
Tied for second with 48. An incredible number for Luka. We'll be here. We'll be covering it just like this. But let's get into Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, both rumored that the Mavericks are going to be going after those guys. We'll talk about the pros and cons, talk about those rumors coming up. But first, I want to tell you about betonline.ag. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to put some money down on sports. You can do it right now for the Olympics. The Team USA, we're recording this ad before Slovenia's game, but Team USA lost to France, and they are still, right now, according to BetOnline, USA is still the minus 300 gold medal favorite for basketball. Slovenia all the way down at plus 1,800. Slovenia is under the US, then Australia plus 800, Spain plus 900, France plus 1,100, and then Slovenia plus 1,800. So Slovenia and Spain in the top 5 there. They're in that same bracket. But yeah, those are pretty far odds. If you're feeling really good about Slovenia, go to betonline.ag right now. Use the promo code LOCKDOWN. You get 50%. So 50% more money to put down on Slovenia. Then you can go ahead and cash out. Cash out and win if they get the gold medal. If Luka leads the team to a gold medal, you'll win a bunch of money. Go there, BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into some rumors. Woo! We're going to be using that button a lot over this next week or so. There's going to be a lot of stuff where we're just going to be like,
what a great week this is.
Love it. Love it. This is you and me. This is probably like our favorite 2-week stretch, draft and free agency. Usually it's 2 weeks between the draft and free agency. This year, it's only a week, or maybe even less than that if you just want to count the days. But let's get into some of the stories. Mark Stein dropped a piece on Friday, I believe, or late Friday or late Thursday, about Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers' Kawhi Leonard, like Chris Paul, has to decide whether to exercise a pricey player option, $36 million, or head to free agency in August. Unlike Paul, Leonard must do so while facing long-term injury uncertainty after it was announced this week that he underwent surgery on a partially torn ACL in his right knee and is out indefinitely. So it goes on and on about some of these, the options he has. Steve Ballmer's confident, all this kind of stuff. But then he gets into a couple other things. Dallas, just to name one expected suitor, will not be dissuaded from pursuing Kawhi Leonard even if he's forced to miss all of next season, league sources say. Whoo! We talked about this a week ago. We talked about the Kawhi Leonard situation. Now that it's a rumored thing that the Mavericks are going to go after him, they will not be dissuaded from going after Kawhi Leonard. What's your thoughts on this now?
Yeah, I mean, my personal thoughts don't change too much. We talked about it last week, like you said. We kind of split it. You were more in favor of it. I was less in favor of it. Just everything considered with the Kawhi situation, his past injury history. I mean, just looking at his games played, like 4 years ago, he played 9 games. That was that last year in San Antonio. And I mean, we could go through them and how many games he's missed. A lot of lower body injuries for him. Yep. And a huge thing is, like, you sign him and you're saying goodbye to next season. And that's my biggest thing of coming full circle with Kawhi thing. I think the way that I would be like 100% down for it is if it's a sign and trade with Porzingis. Because in that situation, then you sign and trade with KP. In that situation, you go into the offseason and you still have money, right? Like you basically have the same situation that you do now. Can you go out and get a Kyle Lowry then? Can you bring back Tim and go get someone else and say, all right, let's bring this squad back together and let's run it back with this squad? If you do that, there is a good chance that you're making it to the playoffs. You're going to the second round, and then you still have that what if with Kawhi. If you bring Kawhi in, that's your one offseason thing. You're saying goodbye to Tim Hardaway. You're not bringing anybody else in free agency. And then you're just running it back with Luka and KP. You're putting a lot on KP. If KP has any type of injury problems like he has the past season or so, like you might not even make the playoffs. So I get really weary when it comes to the Kawhi stuff. But if they work out a sign and trade, then I'm more open.
Weary or wary?
Oh, I meant to say wary. My bad.
Weird, like wary of it, like I'm nervous about it, or I'm thinking about it, or
yes.
Weary, like we hear about this so much, like the Drummond stuff.
I'll just say both.
Yeah,
but I'll say option one.
This is one where it applies for both ways. Yeah, I'm more in favor on the Kawhi Leonard stuff because, and this is one of the things I've been thinking about a lot. Can the Mavericks do a single thing this summer that would make you think, okay, this team can win a title?
Yes.
What would that be?
Kyle Lowry.
They could get Kyle Lowry to this team right now, lose Tim Hardaway Jr., and then boom, they're a title contender.
I think Kyle Lowry would make them in that conversation.
See, I don't think a lot of people agree with you on that. And so let me just go down that trail for a little bit, because if there's nothing else that they can do, right? And let's say Kyle Lowry is like, I'm not going to Dallas. Boom, then that option is off the table. Is there anything else the Mavericks can do to make themselves a title contender?
Well,
I'm not sure just this offseason. So if they can't, then why not do something that will make you a title contender, not this year, but next year with Kawhi Leonard, and bring him back and swing for the fences. Like, you're completely swinging for it. Then you have a year to figure out Porzingis. Maybe they do the sign and trade and we get the best of both worlds, but you have a year to figure out Porzingis. And if you don't, then maybe Porzingis ups his trade value. You trade him in at the trade deadline, and then all of a sudden going into next season, not like this season, but the season after that, you have Kawhi, Luka, something else, and a real foundation there to like, all right, boom, they're ready to win a title. They are title contenders in 2023.
I go back to Phoenix and saying, did their fan base, and heck, did even the Sun, I mean, I guess the Suns management, but like, did people honestly think that the Chris Paul addition back last year would put them in the finals? Like, we're talking about a team didn't even make the playoffs, didn't even sniff the playoffs, and it put them in the finals. So I don't want to do the blanket, like, oh, Mike Conley, that wouldn't mean anything for them. Like, why couldn't a Kyle Lowry, a Mike Conley, a veteran addition to this Mavericks team, why couldn't that make them the Phoenix run for next season? Because we know all the injury stuff. Kawhi's out all year. Jamal Murray's out most of the year. Like, where's LeBron at next year age? Like, we know all of that. So I just get really hesitant when we're talking about throwing away one of the Luka years. And he would know that up front. Like, I know he's super competitive. He would know that if it's okay, we're going to $30 million of our cap is out all year, then he knows that's a year gone. And I get really hesitant about that.
Let us know in the chat, in the comments below the YouTube video, what you think. Should they go in on Kawhi Leonard? Is it worth it? Is it not? Please let us know what you think. But it is something that's out there. It's something that people are talking about. People are getting into about Kawhi Leonard. And it's a thing. For the Clippers, let's focus on that for a second. If Kawhi Leonard leaves and they get nothing for him, what is that team then all of a sudden? We talked about this a couple days ago about what is this Clippers team without Kawhi Leonard next season? Well, what if they just lose him completely?
Yeah, well, I mean, I still don't think he's leaving at all. Like, I think the Clippers are saying full max, everything on the table, and I just don't see why Kawhi would leave outside of some like medical team thing that we all read and hear. But if you're the Clippers at that point, whatever team he wants to go to, then you just say, okay, well, we'll take something back, right? Like, give us something. And so you try to work out a sign and trade. But I mean, that's worst case scenario. And I just don't see, I think going back to the Mavericks thing, one of the things that fans are saying right now, saying, "Well, crap, is this our Dwight Howard? Like again, is this a?"
I said that to you. I said that to
Yeah.
you when this story came out. I texted you. I said, "Will Kawhi Leonard be the Mavericks' Dwight Howard?"
Yeah, like not to bring deja vu back in, like into this, but like
This Mavericks team's Dwight Howard that was the Dwight Howard of the Mavericks before in 15?
yeah, and it's like
2014?
it's like haunting our memories. But can't you see Mavericks are holding out for Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah,
It's
right.
like day 3 of free agency. Tim signs in Miami, and all these options are flying off the board, and then you're like, all right, Kelly Olynyk, $20 million a year, and it's like the catch all option there. So it's just that's the scary route that they put all the eggs in a basket for Kawhi. But this is a new regime, right? A new front office. Hopefully that's not the case.
And when we say Dwight Howard, what we mean is some people are new to the Mavericks or whatever. Back when Dwight Howard was going to become a free agent, when he was with the Orlando Magic, he was at the height of his powers. He was like, I don't know, I wouldn't say Giannis because he didn't win the title, but he was like Giannis before they won the title, right? Because he was up there. He was winning Defensive Player of the Year. He was just this absolute force in the league, an incredible, 3-time defensive. He's Rudy Gobert, but a lot better. Right?
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, so
right. And in a team and in a league, in a state of the league where a Rudy Gobert type player would be more dominant. And so the Mavericks, instead of, and this was part of the Andre Iguodala story that came out on JJ Redick's podcast, the Mavericks, instead of signing some of these guys like Andre Iguodala, or even drafting a Giannis, the exact player Giannis, they decided to clear up cap space. They traded that pick. They decided to wait and not sign Andre Iguodala or somebody like that. And then they waited on Dwight Howard. They made him wait. The Mavericks waited it out, and then they didn't get Dwight Howard. They didn't get Andre Iguodala. They didn't get Giannis. Shane Larkin, not much else to show for it after that. So will Kawhi Leonard be that this season? Will he be a guy that, okay, he's linked to the Mavericks, and now all of a sudden the Mavericks are waiting on him because he's making them hold out? This happened to the Lakers. The Lakers thought that he was going to go there, and it was, remember, the plane, and we were watching him leave there's all these reports about his private plane and stuff, and when he was trying to leave Toronto, and it was down to the Clippers, the Lakers, and then back to Toronto, and the Lakers were waiting it out. They were holding out with a couple of guys, and they finally just waited and waited on Kawhi, because if you get the chance to add somebody like this, you can't pass it up, right? Like, these guys don't come very often, and if you have those
unless they're going to be out the whole next year, and you don't know what they're going to look like because they've had a history of big-time lower body injuries.
I'm just going to say a lot of people are going to disagree with you on that.
I know. I get all of that, but it just scares me. There's no guarantee. It's hey, Luka, take this next year off and hold out because we got Kawhi Leonard coming back from a torn ACL and all the other past injuries. But you know what? He's going to be exactly the same before. So don't worry. I know you only have 3 years left on your extension, but don't worry. We will be good because Kawhi will be fully healthy.
Isn't this what they told Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn?
Brooklyn didn't have a generational talent like Luka waiting to set.
Shots at Kyrie Irving.
Well, and Kyrie had already won his ring. He was friends with KD. Like that's completely different than the KD one.
Wow, you don't think that Luka and Kawhi are friends?
I don't want to make any judgments on that. I have no clue.
Coming up, a lot more rumors. There's a bunch of rumors dropped for Monday. They're ready for it. So Lowry connected to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get into that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They're delicious. I eat one of them almost every day. They're a great meal replacement. They have a new track and field sponsored Built box. You can go and check that out. It's a mixed box. You can go check out some of the mixed bars that they have there. Some of the good flavors, if you want to just get a flavor, mint brownie, always solid, 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, 4 grams of sugar. They have the raspberry, the cherry barcia, all those other kind of flavors that are available right now. So go check it out, Built Bar. Use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next order with Built Bar. Again, that's promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off. Check it out. They also have Built Boost that you can put into your drink and help your immune system. Built Bites, Built Broth, lots of other stuff and products. Go check it out. Locked15 is the promo code, built.com. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into this rumor from Shams Charania about Kyle Lowry, the 76ers, Lakers, Mavericks, Pelicans, and Heat are expected to be the top suitors for Raptors free agent guard and player that would make the Mavericks a title contender, Kyle Lowry, sources said. I may have added a couple things there, but go ahead. You've done your spiel on Kyle Lowry, but you wanted to say a little more earlier. Go ahead. Give me your spiel on Kyle Lowry. You know I'm with you on this. I'm not against you on this, for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've said all along he's the perfect fit in Dallas, 6-time All-Star. He's 35, vet, won the title a few years ago. He plays defense. He's another creator. He's another playmaker. He can run the offense with Luka's on the bench. He just fits everything that I would want that player to fit. And it's just a matter of like what he wants.
And we've said this for years about Kyle Lowry, right? It's not just this season when he's a free agent. We've been talking about Kyle Lowry for probably 2 years as a guy that could be, man, if only Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, if one of those guys could become available, they'd just be an absolute perfect fit because they check all the boxes.
Well, especially when Kawhi, I mean, that was like one of the first conversations we had when Kawhi picked the Clippers. We're like, well, are they going to get rid of Kyle Lowry now? Like he only has, so let's go.
Maybe they should have.
I know, seriously. And then we thought he was going to get traded, at the deadline. Didn't happen. So now he's a free agent. So the question with Lowry is like, how much you willing to pay a 35-year-old point guard? Woj saying that he could see it 25 to 30 million. Guess who's ready to give him 25 a year? Me. I am.
Oh, 100%.
Sign me up for, a 2 for 50. Let's go. I think a precursor to it, though, and this is something to watch out for the Mavericks going into the draft and even on draft night that could give you some type of indication, is if it's on draft night and the Mavericks make a salary cap shedding move on draft night. You get what Utah's thinking about doing right now. You get a move that happens on draft night to where the Mavericks move into the draft into like the second round or the end of the first to a team that has cap space, and they're like, it's Dwight Powell, it's Maxey, it's one of those type of players that clears up an extra like $10 million that you're like, oh, okay. Like now that move can happen in the start of free agency too, but I'm saying that could be a precursor to something that they might know that, hey, free agency is coming in, a couple of days. So I would I'm not saying that would happen. I'm just saying that would be, if a move like that did happen, my first thoughts goes to they got something up their sleeve for free agency.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing the Mavericks cap sheet right now. This second column right here, the 21-22 season, that's the the money coming up for this year. So if they move a Dwight Powell that has 11 million, that would clear up 11 million in cap. Obviously, Josh Richardson.
If Josh Richardson opts in before the draft, he doesn't have to, but if he did before the draft, one, that's an indication that he probably knows where he's going to be going. He's going to be traded to a place that he likes to go or he wants to go to. And that's another way to clear up that extra money too.
Yeah. The Josh Richardson thing could be one, but yeah, if it's a Dwight Powell, if it's a Maxey making 8.8 million, a couple of these guys, even like a Trey Burke making $3 million next year. I mean, if they move something like that, maybe they know that a Kyle Lowry or somebody is interested. So that's an interesting thing to watch for the draft, because it may not be like, it may be one of those moves where we go, that doesn't really make sense for the Mavericks, but it's because they're trying to clear up space and clear up cap just so that they can make that kind of move. So Kyle, a couple of people have even pushed back about Kyle Lowry. Well, he's old. Well, he isn't going to solve all the problems and everything. We just saw Chris Paul solve all the problems for the Suns, right? Like, do we have to do this again?
Yeah, sign me up for Kyle Lowry. I don't see how, like, I get that he's 35, but we're also not handing him a max contract. We're also not handing him $44 million a year. Are you waving at me?
No, my camera keeps going out of focus and it's driving me nuts.
I almost texted you and told you, but I was like, you know what? Maybe it's a cool filter.
I got it back.
You're like an influencer, so I didn't know if it's like a filter on Instagram or something. But no, I just think this is what we need. We need an older vet. And why I don't want to, like, this isn't somebody who can't play either. Like, there's a reason why. Look at the teams that's going after him. The Lakers, Miami, these teams who've been in the finals within the past few years. So it's not like it's like, oh, the Mavericks are going after Kyle Lowry, and then the other teams is freaking Charlotte and Cleveland or something. You're like, okay, why aren't the other big teams going after him who are trying to win titles? No, it's all the good teams. So I'm fine with it.
Even if the Mavericks don't re-sign Tim Hardaway, if KP could get, I mean, if he can just keep scoring 20 a game, and maybe he doesn't get better than that, I think it's okay. The Mavericks don't need Kyle Lowry to be all NBA Kyle Lowry. They just need him to do a couple of things that he does well and be better than Tim Hardaway Jr. Be like maybe at least as decent of a shooter as him. Maybe not at the same volume, but be at least a decent shooter. Be a decent, score, like a scorer. 17 points a game. Can you expect that from Kyle Lowry? I think you still can at this point in his career. But then also add the playmaking, the better defense, the veteran leadership, especially. They just need that from him.
Shot 40% from 3 last year.
Right. They don't need him to be this insane, even like what Chris Paul just did with the Suns. Chris Paul wasn't like MVP level Chris Paul. He, some people may have voted for him for MVP, but he wasn't putting up like 30 and 10, like 38 minutes a game. They don't need that. So I think that's one of the reasons why. You kind of just need him to figure out his spot. Now, let's look at some of these other options for Kyle Lowry. Sixers, that one makes a ton of sense, right? Yeah. That's a team you go in there in the East. He's from Philadelphia. He went to Villanova, all that kind of stuff. That makes a lot of sense for him there. They have stuff to trade. I would think that the Raptors would want to try and do a sign and trade. But if it's Kyle Lowry's decision and he doesn't want to do the Melo to the Knicks thing where they give up all the assets and then get him anyway, I think that that one could make sense. But I don't think they would have to offshore some cap. They would have to figure out how to do that. Mavericks have cap. Lakers would have to do the same thing. They would have to trade some stuff. They would have to do the Kuzma KCP package that's being sent to like literally every team right now.
It feels a lot like a star.
It feels like our Justin Jackson, DeLon Wright package that we tried to trade to everybody last year.
It does. That's good.
Obviously, those Lakers players are better, but Pelicans, that one doesn't make a ton of sense to me. He could maybe take them to be the Phoenix Suns, but man, that's a tall order for them.
Pelicans got to shed money too. The Bledsoe Adams contracts.
They would have to shed the Bledsoe Adams contract, like you said. The Heat is one of the other options there for him. And that one makes sense. They have cap. So I think that those are the two teams that the Mavericks and the Heat are the two teams with cap that wouldn't have to make any other moves that could sign Kyle Lowry. And that's interesting.
Yeah, the Heat's the team I'm worried about the most.
For sure. And staying in the East. I mean, it's a big deal to stay in the East, even though a couple of these West teams seem to be kind of weaker than we thought.
Even though the Lakers are interested in him, along with everyone else in the league. So it's the greatest story in sports.
What are your thoughts quickly? And we'll probably do a longer one on this maybe, but a Lowry DeRozan combo. Is there any way the Mavericks could pull off some kind of sign and trade, DeRozan with sign and trade, Porzingis, and get Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, Luka, like that's their lineup going forward? Because there was a report that Lowry and DeRozan wanted to team up in LA. I can't imagine a salary cap situation where the Lakers are able to add both Lowry and DeRozan. Now, if I eat those words, I eat those words. But with the two max guys they have right now, I don't know if they could do that. But the Mavericks could do something like that.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I mean, my mind is just like boggled right now. I'm trying to think of what that lineup would look like, and especially if you found a way to keep KP in that. And
I don't think you could. You could. I mean, I guess if you did a Dwight Powell, if you cleared Dwight Powell's money. That's 11.1 million. Now all of a sudden you're talking about 40 something million. You give each of them like 20 something.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's like there is a world that if DeRozan and Kyle Lowry say we want to come to Dallas, then
take less.
You renounce Tim Hardaway's cap hold, figure out what to do with Josh, and then or you're like one trade away of saying, hey, will y'all take both of you take 22 a year to come to Dallas? And
that's what the big three did when they went to Miami, right? They all took less than the max to go be together. So
and then what does a Luka, Lowry, DeRozan, KP lineup look like? Who's then Dorian, and that's just wild to think about. But there's so much that could happen this week. That's the fun stuff about this week, that there's no telling what will happen. There's names being thrown out left and right. Bradley Beal. What's going to happen with that situation?
If the Mavericks did the Lowry, if they figure out a way to do Lowry, DeRozan, and keep Porzingis was upset about touches on this team. Like, imagine Porzingis with touches on a team with DeRozan and Lowry as well. Man, that would be rough for him. I can't imagine that going well for him, his agent, like his potential livelihood, right? Like he would be a floor spacer in general. Maybe him and Lowry get some good chemistry, and their two-man game's really good. And so that's the second unit, and Luka and DeRozan are the first unit or something. But that would be rough on Porzingis.
Lowry's like, all right, listen, I played with Channing Frye one time.
It's about the same.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Beal rumor. I've seen some people talk about this. There's gonna be other teams that have better stuff to offer. This is
sorry, guys.
Like the Mavericks. What would the Mavericks trade offer even be? Like, I guess Porzingis in there plus future firsts plus.
Like,
yeah,
that's
Brunson,
my thing with Beal. It's like, I'm not even entertaining it. I don't even think about the Brad Beal to Dallas stuff. And I hate that. Like, I don't want to like just burst some people's bubbles on that. But it's like, he's under contract. All these other teams are going to have, I mean, we could list off, how many teams could we list off with a better trade package that will definitely go after Bradley Beal? There are a ton of teams.
The one thing about Brad Beal and the Mavericks I still don't think they have a good enough trade package to get in it. But the one thing about Bradley Beal is I think that he's shown so much loyalty to the Wizards, or shown so much loyalty, meaning he hasn't requested a trade yet since they've been bad. I guess that's loyalty at this point in the NBA. But I think that there's a case, and I think Ben Mehich said this on Twitter. He's a Wizards writer over at SB Nation, and he said that the Wizards will honor what Bradley Beal wants, and if he requests to a specific location, then maybe they would honor that for him, since he's been loyal to them and they want to do right by him. So that small chance that he's like, I want to go play with a player like Luka, like maybe Luka wins the gold medal or something, and he's like, dang, I want to go play with that guy.
Beats Bill in the gold medal game.
Right, exactly. He's like, okay, I want to play with that guy. Then that's a situation where maybe it could happen. There's something crazy, but other than that, I don't think that
that's the only way it happens, is if Bradley Beal walks into Tommy Shepard's office and says, I want Dallas. And then they just want to grant that and take KP, Josh Green, and some draft picks. Because that's just, every other team out there, like a Miami package around Tyler Hero and all the other stuff, like that is more than what Dallas has. Like Golden State's offer with Wiseman and the 2 picks, like that's New Orleans, like they will go after him so hard too. Like it just goes on and on. Like, so yeah. I'm sorry. I just don't see Bradley Beal happening.
There's one more rumor I want to get to quickly, and that's Woj. Woj was talking about. Say what?
Emmanuel quickly?
I would like to get to it Emmanuel quickly. Woj said Dennis Schroeder turned down a 4-year, $84 million extension, the most Lakers could offer during the season. Teams like Chicago, New York, New Orleans, maybe Dallas in the mix for Dennis Schroeder. This is another guy we talked about before. I think we traded for him 2 years in a row in our mock draft because it was pretty easy to trade for him those 2 years we traded for him. But Dennis Schroeder, possibly for the Dallas Mavericks. Would you? I put up this poll today on my Twitter account, and I said, would you rather have? Let's assume it's the same money, Tim Hardaway Jr. or Dennis Schroeder. Let's imagine that they're getting up it's relatively the same. Maybe it's $3 or $4 million off or something like that. It was runaway, and there's still time left, but there are 1,600 votes, and it was just runaway. Tim Hardaway Jr. Explain, and you said that this is going to be obvious, that it's obviously Tim Hardaway. Explain to me why it's obviously Tim Hardaway.
Well, I just think you want the over 40% 3-point shooter around Luka. He's been in the system. He's had a great season. And I think there's a recency stuff about Schroeder.
For sure.
The Lakers season, I think people just saw the number of the article that came out the other day or the report saying that he thinks he's $100 million player. And I just think it's more of the recency stuff, because if you go back to that last season with OKC, he averaged 19 points a game, 38% from 3. He played great next to Chris Paul. You're also talking to people are listening to 2 guys here that, like, I think you are. I've been higher on Schroeder than most people. Like, I would like his fit in Dallas. I think his like energy, his everything, like playing it back. Like, I'm down for that. I don't know if I'm down to hand him $25 to $30 million a year, but if there's something there for a decent contract and he's one of the pieces that you bring in this offseason, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm taking Tim over him though.
Yeah, and 88, for people listening, there's 1,600 votes so far. There's still time left, but just about 90%, 88.8% picked Tim Hardaway over Dennis Schroeder. That was a poll that I found really, really interesting from Mavs fans, that they would overwhelmingly take Tim Hardaway Jr. at the same number as Dennis Schroeder. So if it's 20 million, a year, it's 20 million a year. You'd rather have that. Schroeder getting 25 doesn't make a ton of sense, but goes back to my point. Not all these guys can make that. So, all right, there you go, guys.
German connection.
Thanks
Schroeder and Maxey.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. We appreciate you guys. We will be back, and go Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Boom.
Peace out. Sorry.